Found my old friend Shvay. Shvay is a big WASM guy, and I love WASM as well. So Shvay, first of all, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. Super excited for the last day at KubeCon,
Awesome.
and super excited for my talk as well.
Oh, awesome. Oh, you haven't given your talk yet?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
at 2 p.m. today.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, awesome. And what is your talk about?
Okay, so as we know that cloud native WebAssembly is growing so much, so we have officially now launched the WebAssembly working group that currently exists under the CNCF tag runtime. And again, the main objective of this WebAssembly working group is to basically unify and help different type of CNCF projects adopt WebAssembly and understand how they can leverage the power of WebAssembly and integrate them, whether it's OPA using WebAssembly to be able to run and infer these policies on the browser itself, or it's like tools like WebAssembly runtimes like Wasm Time, Wasm Edge, which are being integrated in these in Kubernetes itself. So there's a lot to cover in this entire space, and so my talk really just introduces the WebAssembly working group and the main objectives, and what are the main strategies that will help us to lead adoption of WebAssembly in cloud native ecosystem.
Oh wow, oh that's gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
And I guess out of that, you're looking for people to help out in different ways. Like what kind of help is helpful for you guys?
Yeah, so I think the biggest help that we want is that if there are CNCF projects that are either looking to integrate WebAssembly, because of course, it's still pretty new in the cloud native space, so there might be concerns and questions that people might have with respect to, okay, how could they include WebAssembly? Is it the right choice? Should they consider it on top of containers versus WebAssembly? Like these are still the questions that people ask from time to time. So in order to address all of these questions and actually share what kind of use cases might be useful for these companies or for these open source CNCF projects, they should definitely join the WebAssembly working group. It's a WebAssembly working group channel on the CNCF Slack, and we have meetings every 2 weeks on Tuesdays. So you can join them. The main agenda of these meetings is to introduce the different WebAssembly projects within the ecosystem, and then how different companies and projects can actually adopt them. So recently we made a complete revamp to the CNCF landscape for WebAssembly itself. And some of the biggest things that we're working on right now is adding support for new OCI runtimes, so within Containerd, we have the Wasm Shim. But with projects like the Run WASI, we are adding native support for being able to run WebAssembly workloads within your OCI containers, and then of course within Kubernetes, and even in the Kubernetes scheduler. So you're seeing a lot of moving parts. So if companies are willing to get into the ecosystem, they should definitely join. And there are a lot of folks in the ecosystem, in the working group, that can help answer your questions related to adoption of WebAssembly.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay, maybe one more question for you. Are you seeing use cases for ML or AI at the edge with WebAssembly?
Oh, definitely true. You speak about companies like Fermion, who recently introduced serverless AI, where they can actually do LLM inference directly as serverless functions with their Spin framework. Spin is an open source WebAssembly based framework to create microservices. Similarly, a lot of work is going on the WASI NN proposal. So it's a proposal for WebAssembly with machine learning. So you can basically run models from PyTorch, TensorFlow, Onyx runtimes directly with WebAssembly. And open source projects like WebAssembly runtime called Wasm Edge is actually doing a lot of work of being able to run LLMs and even large models directly on the edge with the help of WebAssembly. So instead of using your standard Python containers, which might be very huge, you run them in WebAssembly. So the inference time is actually also very less, and you're running them on very compute, reduced environments, but they work pretty well because of the benefits that you get with WebAssembly. So yeah, definitely check out for Fermion, Spin, Wasm Edge, a lot of exciting stuff going on there.
Awesome, cool. Well, I always learn so much when I talk to you, so thank you very much for sharing.
Thank you so much, Boo. It is wonderful.